Welcome to the Untold Stories about Zarathustra. Part 1. The Persian Zarathustra was a priest and philosopher and is considered the leader and founder of the world's first monotheistic religion, Zoroastrianism, about 4,000 years ago. Zarathustra is unknown to most people, although he has inspired more people and cultures than anyone else over 4,000 years since his birth, including intellectuals, poets, musicians, politicians and even the founders of the Abrahamic religions and great philosophers such as the Greek philosopher Socrates, and the Chinese philosopher Confucius, were inspired by Zarathustra. Start our story with a short extract of the symphonic poem by the famous German composer, Richard Strauss, called, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, played by Berlin Philharmonic. Wow, what a great music for Zarathustra, by Richard Strauss. Zarathustra has inspired other people and cultures in the 4,000 years of its creation, but especially within the intellectuals and scholars in Europe, during the Renaissance. Here is a fresco or mural, by the painter Raphael, which he painted in the Stanza della Segnatura of the Vatican in Rome, from 1510 to 1511. In this painting you can see Zarathustra, Socrates, and Confucius. Zarathustra is holding a globe of the universe in his hand and showing it to his students, including Socrates and Confucius. Keep in mind that this picture was painted by Raphael, 3,500 years after Zarathustra's death. In Zoroastrianism, God is called Ahura Mazda. No writings have survived from Zarathustra himself, except for his 17 chants, or 17 songs. The so-called goddess, which he gave to his students to memorize them. His teachings were written down in 21 books of the Avesta. Avesta is the sacred book or collection of writings of the Zoroastrian scholars. You need to remember these 4 words throughout this lecture, which we will repeat again and again: Zarathustra, Zoroastrianism, Avesta, and goddess. Unexpectedly, my encounter with Zarathustra came as I was writing a book about Persia and proposed a journey through the places of the stories from 1001 Nights. Traveling this route, with my German friend in 2022, we visited a Zoroastrian fire temple in Yazd. As our tour guide told us a story about Zarathustra's life, which aroused my interest to delve deeper into the matter. Here is the story he told us.
Thank you. Yes, we are in Yazd at the Zoroastrian fire temple. Zoroastrians belong to the Aryans, and Aryans have never worshipped idols. They were polytheists. They had different gods for different things, like the god of the sun, who is called Mithra, the god of water, which is called Anahita, the god of fire, called Azar, and so on. But when Prophet Zarathustra was born about 4,000 years ago, he went to the nature at the age of 20 for a couple of years, and he came back with a message. He told everybody, hey, listen up. I have a message for all of you. The message is this: all of your gods have only one God, and his name is Ahura Mazda. Since then, Iranians became monotheists, believing in only one God. So Zoroastrianism is believed to be the first monotheistic religion in the world.
On my return to Vienna, I started my research on Zaratustra, which took me more than a year. Connecting with experts and scholars around the world, reading countless books, including religious books, books which are no longer published and out of print. For example, the Diaries of Pietro della Valle, the 15th-century Italian nobleman who spent several years traveling through Persia, or the translation of Avesta, the holy book of Zoroastrianism, by French historian Abraham Dupeyron, who is known for the first translation of the Avesta into a European language. The Iranian Plateau, or Persian Plateau, is a mountainous region in Central Asia that lies between the Zagros Mountains to the west and the Hindu Kush region to the east. I remember as a child sleeping in the backyard or on the roof of our house on hot Iranian summer nights, and that was my view of the sky and the universe. This starry sky plays an important role in Iranian culture and found its way into Zoroastrianism about 4,000 years ago. The Zoroastrians amazingly developed a great knowledge of the earth, the sun, and the stars thousands of years ago. Nowruz and Yalda are two ancient Zoroastrian festivals based on the so-called solar equinox. A solar equinox is a moment in time when the sun crosses the Earth's equator, which is to say, appears directly above the equator, rather than north or south of the equator. These two solar events are still celebrated today by over 300 million people in Central Asia, just as their Zoroastrian ancestors did thousands of years ago. The people of the Central Asian countries including Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Iran celebrate these two festivities every year since thousands of years. Nowruz is the Zoroastrian New Year. In 2009, UNESCO included Nowruz in the list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And since 2010, Nowruz is recognized as International Day by a decision of the 64th General Assembly of the UN. Here is another fascinating story about Zoroastrians. Everyone in the Western world knows them, the biblical Magi, or the three holy kings, but almost no one knows that they were three Zoroastrian astronomers. It was 2,000 years ago as they wandered from Kashan in Iran to Bethlehem, following a comet, which appeared in the sky at almost the same time as Jesus was born. Their feast is celebrated every year on Epiphany, 6th of January. The three kings are also celebrated in the Evangelical Church on Epiphany. In the Orthodox Church, however, their feast falls on 25th of December of the Julian calendar, together with Christmas, and in the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, they are celebrated on 26th of December every year. Zarathustra has inspired more people and cultures in the 4,000 years since his birth than any other person in human history. In this episode, we saw how he inspired other religions and classical music. In the next episode, we will look at how Zoroaster inspired European literature, including poets and philosophers.